Welcome to the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. Week 9 of the NFL season starts now with episode 49 of Turf and Touchdowns. We're looking forward to a good game as well on Thursday Night Football. Not always been their way on TNF, but we've got the Texans taking on the Jets. The Texans on the road. Myself, Luke Elder, alongside Tom Collins, as always. Very much looking forward to this one, Tom. As I say, it's not always been a case that's been something we've been allowed to do.
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. My voice is very low, guys. You don't whack it in the comments. I know it sounds stupid. Anyway, yes, this is a very good game, Luke. I'm looking forward to it. I say very good. I mean, I have no idea who's going to win. How can you trust the New York Jets right now? Aaron Rodgers is playing like a 40-year-old. I know he is 40, but he's playing like one, rather than the four-time MVP in the NFL. You've got an O-line that's not playing up to scratch. Everyone thought the Jets were going to improve when Salah and Hackett were both fired. That's not happened. They had a blowout defeat 2 games back against the Steelers. They were awful on Sunday against the Patriots. I don't understand how they lost that game, so I just cannot trust the Jets. Meanwhile, you've got the Houston Texans who are rock solid, but they're without, arguably, their 2 best wide receivers in Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs. They should be favourites, that being said. But the market has the Jets as 1.5-point favourites. What's going on here?
Correction, that it's just moved to 2-point favourites for the Jets, which is odd. But the over-under is 42.5. The moneyline price is Jets 10-13, and the Texans are 11-10 at the moment, which is a bizarre one. The Texans have looked good so far this year. Obviously, the main thing for them is that Nico Collins has been taken away. He's eyeing a Week 10 return, so he won't be around in this spot. So it'll be once again the Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell show, which hasn't exactly been the case so far this season when Nico Collins has been taken away. It's a big part for the Texans, but at least Joe Mixon has just been Mr. Reliable. He has been incredible for Houston this year.
Yeah, he's been very good. Joe Mixon basically moves the ball whenever Houston need to get that first down. CJ Stroud's been pretty solid. Maybe he's not putting up the fantasy numbers that everyone was expecting, but obviously Nico Collins being hurt has really kind of killed his fantasy points at the moment. I think Stephon Diggs is out. He left the game on Sunday last week, and he didn't look like he was going to return soon. So maybe he's 1 or 2 weeks on the sidelines, though obviously we're filming this on Tuesday and anything can happen between Tuesday and Thursday, which would put emphasis more on Xavier Hutchinson, Dalton Schultz, obviously Tank Dell, as you touched on. Maybe that's why the bookies are going the way of the Jets, but I just can't trust New York.
No, very hard to trust. They could turn up and be good. Stephon Diggs, by the way, estimated as did not practice on Monday. He doesn't look fantastic, but there's been no update effectively. So keep your ears to the ground. But we will assume that he's probably not going to play because on a short week, that is generally the way that things go. But we'll dive into things. I think the Texans take this game, personally. I know the Jets have been our nemesis so far on the podcast so far this year. How Breece Hall didn't get a touchdown, I don't know. The coaching staff were completely inept. Yes, Braylon Allen got in, but Braylon Allen was terrible all game. They threw twice from the 1-yard line. Breece Hall ran all over the Patriots. I don't think that'll be the case here. Breece Hall will likely have a good game, Tom, but Mr. Hall, I'm staying away from you in this one.
Yeah, Breece Hall, 0 out of 5 on the podcast so far when we've tipped him between us. Obviously 0 from 2 from you last week. I think I'm 0 from 3 in the rest of the season. So, yeah, he's not been the guy for us. Actually, he's the bane of the Turf and Touchdowns podcast so far, but not so fast, Luke Elder. Give me Breece Hall over 65.5 rushing yards on Thursday Night Football. What do you make of that?
I just. When you were younger, were you ever involved in any relationships where the girl wasn't that interested in you? I feel like that's.
Well,
I feel like that's
it is kind of what's happening here. Yeah. Well, you know what? I am a glutton for punishment, but let me tell you, if the Jets are going to win this game, they have to run the ball. And they're going to have to go towards Breece Hall because Braylon Allen was shocking on Sunday, as you've already said. He was averaging 2.6 yards a carry or something ridiculous. Now, Houston last week gave up 105 yards to Jonathan Taylor. The week before, 76 yards to Josh Jacobs. The week before, 82 yards to Aaron Jones. The week before, 90 to Tank Bigsby. And the week before, 102 again. This is a team, Houston Texans, who are not good at defending the run. Breece Hall has to run the ball for the Jets to win. Surely Breece covers 66 yards here. He's going to be my only selection in this game. Last week he ran for 80 yards. Yes, as you say, he didn't get that touchdown, but he was pretty good when he got the ball. 3 weeks back, he had 113 rushing yards. Okay, there was a bit of a blip 2 weeks back, but we'll just pass over that for the basis of this tip. Give me Breece Hall over 65.5 rushing yards at 10 to 11. Now's your time, Breece. Don't let us down for a sixth time on the podcast.
You just know he's going to hit 65. That's it. He's hitting 65 and he's going no further. I am also going for a rushing prop, and it's just changed as well. So it's gone a touch lower, which I'm delighted about. So I'm going to go for the obvious rusher in this game, CJ Stroud, which is not something I normally do. But it worked with Bo Nix a few weeks ago. Bo Nix went like 75 rushing yards when the line was 22 and a half. I think CJ Stroud might have to use his legs a little more in this game. With Stephon Diggs potentially out, his rushing line, by the way, is at 8.5 now. That's just changed from 9.5. Again, a yard in this sort of bet can be quite big because let's just say the Texans are winning the game late on. He takes two kneel downs and he loses a couple of yards. That counts. But when we're talking about 8.5, I like the overs in this spot. The Jets are an okay defense. I am contemplating dropping them in fantasy football this week because they've been pretty pants for the last 3 weeks, but they do allow quarterbacks to run on them. So far this season, I mean, we saw last week Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. They combined for 57 yards and a touchdown. Russell Wilson only had 3 yards on 3 carries, but he still made it into the end zone as well. And Will Levis earlier on in the season, he rushed for 38 yards. Josh Allen rushed for just under 20, but they worked hard on just taking Josh Allen out of the game. They tried it. He still got a few yards, yes, but I don't think that'll be something they'll be trying to take out of the game with CJ Stroud. Will McDonald on the Jets side of things, he's having a fantastic year. Was a high draft pick last season. He's second in the NFL regards to sacks. He's got 8 sacks, one behind the sack leader at the moment. And CJ Stroud's gone over this line 5 times in 8 games so far this year. He's been using his legs, not a lot, but when he has to, he does take off. A lot of it with CJ Stroud, to be honest, is when the play breaks down, he'll just nip up the inside, just go straight up the middle for 4 or 5 yards. He does that twice in this game. Bet landed, and we're absolutely fine on that front. So I'll take CJ Stroud over 9.5, and I'm also going to be brave. The Jets upset me, but I think Houston take this game. However, I'm going to take that little bit of comfort. I'm going to go Houston +2. I think +2 is big in this spot. You've still got Joe Mixon to use. They've been using him an absolute ton. Tank Dell is a very good wide receiver. I think Stephon Diggs being in Houston has been great for Stephon Diggs. He's been brilliant so far this year. But take Stephon Diggs off the field, Tank Dell can really step up and be the absolute alpha. We saw that last year plenty of times. This could be Tank Dell's time to really shine. On his receiving yards, he's currently 58.5. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. I'm surprised he'll being offered a line, to be quite honest, because the Diggs side of things is up in the air. But I think Houston will be absolutely fine on the offensive side of things. Yes, 2 big weapons are gone, but Tank Dell can really step up. Dalton Schultz we saw step up last week as well, and Joe Mixon, as we say. So they're my 2 plays for the week. I just hate the Jets at the moment, Tom. I just hate what they're doing to us.
Yeah, I hate what they're doing to us as well. I think they're the only team, and obviously the players within the Jets, that are properly punishing us from a punting perspective right now. We're generally pretty spot on week in, week out with our picks. I don't think we've done worse than 50% any week so far, but Breece Hall was being the killer. I am very unloyal, disloyal, whatever the word is, when it comes to betting in general. But Breece Hall, there's just something about him. He's too good to constantly let us down. The Jets are too bad right now for what they should be. Surely it just finally clicks into place. Hopefully Breece can get his rushing overs, but the Houston Texans win and CJ Stroud scrambles for 10 plus yards. That would be the ideal scenario here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hope that's the way. We'll get into our selections and finalise them in just a second. Just before we do that, make sure you subscribe to this podcast to be kept up to date with everything we do. We've got 14 horse racing videos coming at you over the next few days. The Breeders' Cup is this weekend. If you're a horse racing fan, go look at them. If you're not, go look at them anyway. It's still good fun. The Breeders' Cup is one of the greatest meetings of the entire year. I do think you'll enjoy it. regardless. So the Breeders' Cup is on the way. Our selections for this podcast, though, Tom, I'll take the Houston Texans +2 at 10 to 11. I'll take CJ Stroud over 8.5 rushing yards as well, also at 10 to 11. And for you, you're going back to get whooped some more.
Yeah, Breece Hall over 65.5 rushing yards at 10 to 11. One play, hopefully one winner.
Yes, we will see how we go on that. That's Thursday Night Football here on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment down below with anything that you do like for this game as well, and we will see you over on our Breeders' Cup videos. Until then, stay safe, look after one another.